In our previous class, we learned about the physical divisions of North America. In this lesson, we will be focusing on the rivers of the continent. As you can see on the map, it's quite evident that almost the entire continent is drained by major rivers, right? So you see, starting from Colorado, that flows into the Pacific Ocean, on the western part of the continent, we have St. Lawrence River on the eastern side of the continent flowing into the Atlantic Ocean. So we see that two major rivers are flowing into two largest ocean bodies. Now, we also have some rivers flowing into the Gulf of Mexico in the southern part of the continent, including River Mississippi and River Rio Grande. We also have River Missouri and Kansas that are major tributaries of River Mississippi. Following these, we have the Saskatchewan River and the Nelson River that flows into the Hudson Bay. And finally, we have River Yukon and River Mackenzie at the very northern part of the continent flowing into the Arctic Ocean. So you see, these are some of the major rivers of the continent and they have a very influential effect on the overall development and growth of the continent. Starting with the mighty Mississippi, we are talking about the Mississippi River. So the Mississippi River is an important river of the continent of North America with 7 major tributaries. And these tributaries are River Missouri, as mentioned earlier, Kansas, Arkansas, Red, Tennessee, Ohio, Illinois, and that's it. So there are 7 major tributaries of the Mississippi River. The Mississippi River is also considered as the cultural treasure of the continent of North America. It flows over 10 states of North America, particularly including the states of the United States of America. So you see that here we have the Mississippi Basin, which proves to be an important river basin for the continent of North America and for the United States of America in particular. It is an agriculturally rich ground contributing to high agricultural production of the continent. Now, Mississippi River, besides being called the mighty Mississippi and also the cultural treasure of the continent of North America, is also the 4th longest river in the world with a length of 3,734 kilometers. So you see that this river that ends or flows into the Gulf of Mexico is the 4th longest river of the world and it has a length of 3,734 kilometers. So here we have a glimpse of the mighty Mississippi. While keeping a note of the mighty Mississippi, we must not forget the 2 major tributaries of the river. So the Missouri River right here and the Kansas River right here, these two originating from the western Cordilleras come and join the Mississippi River, making the 2 major tributaries of the river. As we learnt in our previous lessons that the Central Plains or the Great Plains lying at the central part of the continent is often known as the granary of the world. Now this is simply because this region is drained by major rivers and consists of 2 important river basins, primarily of the Mississippi River and the Missouri River. Now these 2 river basins not only adds fertility to the prairies of USA, but also adds to the economy of the country. Now besides these 2 major basins, we also have some other basins that adds to the agricultural productivity of the country. And these river basins are Basin of Ohio, Basin of Tennessee and Basin of River Red. So we learned that mighty Mississippi is the 4th longest river of the world and it flows into the Gulf of Mexico. It also has two important tributaries, River Missouri and River Kansas. And other than that, its basin, along with the basins of Missouri, Red, Ohio, and Tennessee, plays a very important role in the agricultural industry of USA. Now, besides adding to the agricultural industry of United States of America, the rivers also play a very important role in adding to the economy of the continent. How? So these rivers make the Gulf of Mexico a place of economical and recreational activities, right? So starting with whitewater rafting in USA to canoeing and fishing in the Mississippi River, these make the place a happening place and a famous tourist destination of the continent. Now, we looked at the mighty Mississippi now. Let's look at the Colorado River. Now, Colorado River is another important river that flows into the largest ocean of the world, and that is the Pacific Ocean. So you see that the Colorado River passes through two countries of the continent, namely Mexico and the United States of America, right? And this river is also an important river system of the continent. So the river Colorado, also known as the Grand, flows over 7 states and 2 countries, as I just mentioned. Now, a very famous and important attraction of River Colorado is the Grand Canyon. Have you heard of the Grand Canyon? Yes, if you remember quite rightly, in our previous lessons, we did learn about the Grand Canyon. So what exactly is this? So the river Colorado flows through the Grand Canyon that contains some of the oldest exposed rocks on Earth. The place contains some of the oldest rocks on Earth that can be dated back to 300 million years. Now, if you see, the cliffs here are as high as a mile. So the mile-high cliffs here gives you a cross-section of the Earth's crust and also gives the opportunity to the geologist to read about the evolution through time. So if you ever happen to visit the United States of America, then you must visit this place of adventure. Now, besides that magnificent attraction, the Colorado River Delta also provides excellent grounds for agriculture. So, as we can see on the map that the Colorado River Delta falls at the natural terminus of the Colorado River, that is at the Gulf of California. Now, this river basin or this river delta does not only provide a rich agricultural ground to both the countries of United States of America and Mexico, but the water from this river is also used for drinking purpose, irrigational purpose, electricity generation, other industries, fishing and whitewater paddling. So you see that the river does not only benefit the agricultural industry and does not only provide rich fertile grounds for agriculture and cultivation, but the water from this river is also used for electricity generation, for other purposes in various industries, for fishing and also for adventures like whitewater paddling. Now, the Colorado River is one of the most important rivers of the continent of North America. However, unfortunately, over the years, it has become North America's most endangered rivers. And why do you think this has happened? This has mainly happened because of the construction of various dams, the poor river management techniques and overuse of the river. So you see, all these human activities has led to the most important river becoming the most endangered one. However, due to proper awareness towards environmental concerns, now measures are being taken and are in process for the restoration of the Colorado River. So before we proceed with the lesson, could you help me answer this simple question? Which river is the most endangered one in North America? Is it River Colorado, River Mackenzie, River Missouri, or River Columbia? Yes, we just learned that River Colorado is the most endangered one in North America. Now let us travel to the northeastern part of the continent towards the Great Lakes. So here we find another important river of the continent, and that is St. Lawrence. So St. Lawrence River forms a natural international boundary between the countries of Canada and the United States of America, and it retains its natural beauty throughout its length. So here is a glimpse of the beautiful river St. Lawrence, and it originates in Lake Ontario, that is a part of the Great Lakes, and it ends or flows into the Atlantic Ocean. So St. Lawrence is another important river of the continent that forms a natural international boundary between the countries of Canada and the United States of America, and it also retains its natural beauty throughout its length. Now the river is a part of the St. Lawrence Seaway, which is a project undertaken by the United States of America and Canada. Now this was mostly done to open the agricultural and industrial grounds to international vessels. So it proves to be an important river system for both the countries of Canada and the United States of America. Besides that, the river has a plenty of fishes, and there is a massive migration of ducks and geese all along the shores of the river. So in these two pictures here, we can see the famous muskies of the St. Lawrence River, and we also have the migratory duck, that is merganser duck, right here with its beautiful kids. So we see that St. Lawrence is a beautiful river and an important one for the countries of Canada and USA. Another significant river of the river system of the continent is River Rio Grande. Now River Rio Grande originates in the Colorado Plateau. So it originates in the Colorado Plateau and it flows into the Gulf of Mexico. So here we have a picture of Rio Grande. This is one of the major rivers of the continent that originates in the Colorado Plateau and it flows into or ends into the Gulf of Mexico. Now this river is an interesting one as it moves in a single channel with a snake-like movement. Another two important rivers of the continent include the Yukon River and the Mackenzie River that lies in the northern part of the continent. These two rivers empties itself or flows into the Arctic Ocean. Now, the basins of these two rivers also plays an important role for the continent of North America. Though the basins consist of a population of 1,26,000, however, they are the least traveled and the least populated as compared to other major rivers and their basins as a part of North America. Now, an interesting fact about the Yukon River is that it is the third longest river of the continent of North America and has the fourth largest basin in the continent. So in this lesson, we were able to understand and look into the important rivers of the continent. We also talked about the basins and how important they are for the continent. In our next lesson, we will be taking a look at the lumberjacks of North America. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon. You can also register for free at DeltaStep.com or download the DeltaStep app to learn one-to-one with our amazing teachers or to get access to all our 5,000 plus amazing videos as per your school syllabus. Master each topic with our adaptive practice technology. Get million plus questions with step-by-step solutions and unlimited mock test. Get all your doubts resolved instantly. Learn via games and win amazing prizes like PlayStations and iPads. So at DeltaStep, learning is not just fun and easy, it is rewarding too. So register for free now.